This week on Arizona Illustrated, a special presentation of Arizona Illustrated's 2016 Emmy nominees and winners. Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. In just a few weeks, Arizona Public Media will hear if any of its programs are nominated for 2017 Rocky Mountain Emmy Awards. So we thought this is a perfect time to present last year's nominees and winners. In 2016, Arizona Public Media was awarded 12 individual Emmys and the prestigious 2016 Governor's Award. There were even more nominees, so let's get started. First up, back in May of 2015, the Antiques Roadshow came to Tucson. Watching the incredibly syncopated yet personal process that is the Antiques Roadshow is like watching an orchestra perform on a 90,000 square foot stage.
You're on this planet because you were someone's dream, and that's something that we all have in common.
On January 11th, 1996, a little girl named Karen Grajeda vanished without a trace. A detective named Kathy Rouse set out to find her, and the search changed her life forever.
Sometimes in law enforcement, they talk about the ghosts that you carry. I remember just driving home some nights, or even in later years in patrol when I would be in that area, just looking around and going, where did she go? Where was she taken? What happened? By the end of the second day, we know statistically if we don't find missing children within 24 hours, if it's not a family abduction, that we're usually looking at a homicide. At the time of the Karen Grajeda disappearance, I was a detective with the Tucson Police Department with a newly formed sex offender registration and tracking unit that also had responsibility for responding to missing children cases. Karen actually disappeared January 11th at about 5:45. This area was the last sighting of Karen as far as the children were concerned. Karen had been roller skating with her little sister, and she went inside to put her skates away, and her mom told her it was almost time for dinner, and Karen said, "Can I just go out, play a little bit more?" She went out, and that's the last time her mother saw her. And at that time, I truly thought we were going to find Karen within the next couple of hours. You know, as you always do in these cases, you know, she went over to a friend's house, you know, spent the night, forgot to tell mom, you know, something happened, but Karen's gonna come walking up pretty soon. I remember that night got very cold. I was sitting with Rosalva, her mom. You know, kind of as a mom, you start thinking about your own kid out there, and she didn't have a jacket. And, you know, I really remember that because that was a time, you know, just two moms sitting out and this mom not knowing where her child was. There was no vegetation here. This was just a dirt lot. When I arrived here at the scene, we asked for the command post, which is just that big trailer that you see, so that detectives and commanders can have a place to meet and to get organized. Karen's mother had come over to the command post, as she would at night, I think just to have someone to talk to and maybe have a little bit of hope, because she knew we were working. And I told her the end of that second night, I said, don't lose hope. And I told her that I would never stop looking for Karen. You're big bad police officer, and the public's looking at you and the media's looking at you. So you gotta hold it together. And then you add not sleeping a couple of days on top of that. So I remember just going down the street and couldn't think about how to get home, and just pulled over and just had to let it out for a little while. Starting in about 1993, we had had a series of abductions and molests of young girls that looked just like Karen, same age, in this area. There was a concern, we have a serial child molester who's now turned into a serial killer. The DNA that was found in one of those cases related to Karen's case had come back with a DNA hit with a suspect, and that is the person that most of us involved in the investigation, believe is responsible for Karen's disappearance. However, we don't know that for sure, and Karen's body was never found. I don't know what it was about this case, because I've done probably over 1,000, 1,500 child abuse cases. I've done child death cases. I've done death notifications to parents. I don't know what it is about this case. I just feel some type of connection to Karen. Over the years, when you would hear a body's been found, or after a couple of years, the bones have been found, and that still brings back, could that be her? Is it her? I retired after 25 years. I was walking out the door, and I remember the door closed, and my first thought was, you never found Karen, and you promised you would never stop looking, so what are you gonna do now? So that really laid heavy on my heart. So an opportunity came up to work with Pima County JTAD. They were starting a law and public safety program for young high school kids that want to be police officers. So kind of in a naive way, I thought, well, if I could somehow influence young kids to really take this job seriously and know how to do these types of investigations correctly, maybe that's the way that I can honor my promise to Karen's mom. You learn in this job that there are not nice people in the world, and that there are people who enjoy hurting children. But I think this case brought home to me that there's true evil in this world. Because somebody that would take this little girl from this parking lot and do whatever they did to her and deprive her mom and our community of this little girl. It just instilled in me that there's true evil. And how are you going to fight that? What can you do to fight that other than just get up every day and do the best job that you can?
I don't know of anyone who wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I guess I'll paint a ho-hum average piece of art today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
I think we as citizens of this country have a responsibility to this country, and I think that includes to each other.
What our hope is that Jay's story will inspire decision makers so that everyone has an opportunity to get better.
I love it. It's all I eat, breathe, sleep, which I think it's funny because I used to hate mariachi when I was little.
Since StoryCorps was created more than 10 years ago, thousands of people from around the world have shared their stories in the form of a conversation with someone they love. In 2015, they visited the old Pueblo. Next, we'll meet the StoryCorps team and find out how and why they listened to Tucson.
When was the last time you had a 40-minute conversation with someone that you care about, even if you see them every day? At StoryCorps, we say that listening is an act of love. It's the power of that moment together when people are stopping and listening. You don't come in by yourself. You're sitting across from someone that you care about. And a StoryCorps facilitator is with you the whole time to walk you through that experience so that you can come and share what you'd like to share and preserve with the people that you love. We're collecting these recordings there at the Library of Congress. So there's a community and a nation of listeners now and in the future. I'm Emily Jansen, the site manager for StoryCorps' mobile tour. I'm here with our Airstream trailer, our mobile booth. We're in Tucson for the last stop of our 2015 tour. I just want to say, we do tend to bring rain everywhere we go, so I'm not surprised it was raining today. My job is to make sure as we travel around the country to 10 cities every year, to make sure that everything goes smoothly on the ground. That Betty, our booth, as we like to call her, that she's well taken care of. So this is Erica and Danielle. They're both facilitators for the mobile tour, and they have both been traveling around the country for a year. Since we just got to town today, they're gonna start setting us up and getting everything ready. We scrub it nice and clean so that it's a great place for everyone to come. It looks good, nice and shiny.
I've always loved to travel, and so heading into this I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the greatest adventure I've ever been on. And it has been, but it's been a lot different than I thought it would be. Sometimes you come on interviews and they're really uplifting and they fill your heart with joy, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to spread that with you and talk to you about it. And then other times they're really difficult. And having Emily and Erica is huge.
Opening day is incredibly exciting because here we are, we're launching our time in Tucson. And excited to meet you all in a moment at the mobile booth and see you around Tucson this month.
Not knowing what's gonna walk through that door next is so exciting.
I'm Gulshan Sethi. I came to this country in 1964.
I'm Neelam Sethi. I've been in America for 45 years. We were honored that we would be asked to share our story and always love to give back and share where we have come from, our heritage, our culture. It's very important.
You know, I wasn't sure that I want to do it, but Neelam convinced me, and she's very right about it, that we need to share our story.
In those days, we were not allowed to date or go out or write letters to boys at all. And so when the parents approved of each other, then they would contact the son and the daughter and say, why don't you meet? And usually you met over tea.
And all of a sudden, this curtain opens, and there is this beautiful girl comes out in a beautiful sari, and I have one look at her, and I say, my God, if this is true, if this thing becomes a reality, I'll be the happiest man in the world. And I'm so happy after 45 years.
Yeah. I just felt your presence and your strength, and I felt that it would be perfect.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure that you would approve of me at that time. You know, I mean, she was still beautiful. A lot of boys wanted to get married to her. She was very popular. And, you know, I was kind of not that charming guy.
No, you were. You were.
So I kept on praying and praying, and I said, hope this girl accepts me.
Yeah.
Yes. So
that was a magical time. Life is a mirror. How you project, that's the reflection you get back.
Yeah.
We make a great team.
We have it's a great team, and 45 years, and many more to go.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. It was a beautiful experience sharing our story, to be able to express so many things that sometimes you take so much for granted, and it just made us focus back on our life together.
It was a great experience, and to have the CD available for our children, grandchildren, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
It's really awesome.
When people go in, they often have butterflies. They're a little bit nervous about talking together and being recorded. And when people come out on the other side, we see people, they kind of have a glow about them sometimes. They're relaxed. They've just, I think it's just because they've taken part in that talking and listening and being listened to. Listening to each other and recording what we have to say and preserving that, that's a way for us to tell each other that we matter. And there's a lot of ways in this world that we tell each other that we don't. It's a great way to honor each other.
I got to a point where I had kind of had enough of crying and feeling sorry for myself. And I said, what can I do?
I think my dad was an architect's architect. He had a reason for all of the things he did.
At the end of the day, if you can kind of look yourself in the mirror and say, you know, 80% of the day I was happy, I think you're living a pretty good life.
The key word on this whole thing was collaboration. Federal, state, and local entities, all combining resources.
It's a visual representation of energy. Energy controls so much in this world. You know, everything's fueled by energy.
Mookie Singh moved to the United States from India 16 years ago, along with his wife Roop and daughter Shireen. Together they launched the Twisted Tandoor, an authentic Indian food truck that rose to the top of the Tucson foodie scene. After 2.5 years on the truck, they plan to open their own brick and mortar version of the Twisted Tandoor. On the very day they were to open, the unexpected happened.
So every Friday we set up outside Dragoon Brewing Company.
I don't know, it's great. Perfect.
We get along like a house on fire. You know, it's fun. You're working on it's hot, there's smoke and there's heat.
We'd forget how hot it was when we were meeting people, talking to them, selling our food. It was just fun when we had that interaction.
What we call a tandoori chicken.
It was almost like everyone's family, you know.
Chicken tikka masala is the best I had.
It's awesome.
You can taste the grilled flavor, but you also taste the spice that goes into it. It's really good.
It's easy to be around them. I think as an only child, maybe like I was always with them, so I didn't want any other job. You know, I kind of looked forward to seeing them and being on the truck.
Awesome, thank you.
Being that we're a tap room without a kitchen just seemed like the perfect mix. He really kind of was one of the people that helped us blossom into where we are today.
In my opinion, there's no better bond than curry, spicy food, and a cold beer.
I'm a big fan of the meatballs. It's kind of an old favorite of mine.
It's not just sitting and eating something, it's the whole experience, you know. It's being with friends and family, having a great evening out, enjoying the whole experience. You know, we can talk to our customers and tell them we care about you, you know, I mean, in the little time that we have. My name is Mukhi Singh. I'm 51 years old, and I'm a food truck owner. Probably the only Indian food truck in Arizona, from what I understand. It's called the Twisted Tandoor, and the logo that you see on the truck is actually the colors of the Indian flag, but they're with a twist. This is my daughter Shireen, this is my lovely wife Roop, and this is Taylor.
Tyler.
Tyler,
Oh
sorry.
my God.
Tyler.
You have to redo
sorry.
it. You have to redo the
yeah,
whole thing.
okay. And Tyler, our main man on the truck.
He was, I mean, obviously a really smart guy, but he just couldn't spell. And I think English is like his fourth language. And my mom and I would always make fun of him and be like, we'll do it, you know?
In the morning hours on August 21st, Mukhi Singh died suddenly of an apparent heart attack. He came from a line of farmers and soldiers in the mountainous Punjab region of India and went to school in New Delhi. He first met Roop during a chance encounter on his parents' farm in 1987.
And then he, I think, liked me because I liked wildlife, and he had found fewer women who were so interested in animals and in, you know, common interest, yes, where he knew that, okay, this is somebody who will go out if I want to fish in the wild and not be afraid because there's a little snake somewhere.
That liaison led to love and a 26-year marriage. Their daughter Shireen, a neuro and cognitive science student at the U of A, says she was her father's child.
He always called me Chotu, which means like little one in Hindi. I was always like hunting, fishing with him, that kind of thing. That was, you know, I was like his boy, child.
When the Singh family came to America 15 years ago, they carried with them cherished family recipes.
Yeah, it's really, really hot. And it feels even warmer now.
I think he really wanted to do something with food because he loved to entertain people and feed them.
So it's like an aromatic, it's, you know,
My dad was always like an idea man. You know, he had always these big ideas, and they were always fruitful.
Lime juice.
Yeah, and they've always made really good food, so they had faith in their food.
And that faith was rewarded. After 2.5 years on the Tucson food truck scene, the Twisted Tandoor became a top money earner and foodie favorite, coming in a close second to Pinup Pastry in a citywide food truck competition sponsored by the Arizona Daily Star. 32 trucks went head-to-head over the summer. Tracy Santa Cruz of Pinup Pastry, a truck dedicated to the sweet tooth, called it a draw.
It was a real battle, and like I told Mookie in the end, there wasn't a winner. It was both of us. You had sweet and you had savory, and as far as I'm concerned, that's where the contest should have ended.
Both the Tracys who own Pinup Pastries, they work really hard. They have a fabulous product. And you know, we talked about after the results came out, and I said, I always knew Tucson was a kind town. Now we know that it's a sweet town. I got to work on it being a spicy town now. We're doing an event at the TMC on Grant and Craycroft.
Okay, it's for the Children's Miracle Network.
Children's Medical Network. Thank you. Thank you.
Fellow food truck owner Jason Scott of Barbecue Rush was a fan and a friend.
If people love him, I mean, wherever he goes and sets up, he sells out.
I'm having a chicken tikka masala from Twisted Tandoor.
Dr. Gulshan Sethi was a Twisted Tandoor regular.
I just called my wife. I said, I'm going to bring lunch for you. You know, I grew up in India, so this is an Indian dish. Just one of the best Indian food you can eat.
Many Twisted Tandoor customers shared the same sentiment. With word of mouth and nearly 4,000 followers on Facebook, their hard work was paying off.
We're very fortunate. We're so blessed that we got this opportunity. We were scared like hell when we started, but I think Tucson's more than just kind, you know.
Making food that people would embrace and celebrate took a great deal of work, and sustaining that effort for 2.5 years required commitment.
We didn't realize how much work it would be. You know, it seemed like, we'll do a food truck, you know.
Over time, they'd outgrown the truck and were ready to take the next step. They signed a lease to open their own brick-and-mortar version of the Twisted Tandoor. On that August morning, Roop and Mookie Singh were loading supplies into their new restaurant, a couple of hours before their doors would open to the public. Mookie collapsed. Emergency responders were unable to revive him.
Yeah, maybe it was all the excitement and hard work, and something gave way.
8 days later, Roop and Shireen invited friends, family, and the food truck community to gather and celebrate his life here at what would have been their new restaurant. Hundreds of people showed up to remember him.
You can tell from today, outpouring of love as a testament to the type of man that he was. I think anyone that had, the opportunity and the pleasure of being around for him even for 10 seconds knows everything that I could ever say.
Today we are here just to celebrate his life and live by his example. God has given us life, let's live it to the fullest. And he did.
You expect to go to a food truck event and the Tandoor to be there and Mookie to be there. I don't think it's sunk in to anyone. I mean, not just the food truck community. Tucson has lost just a wonderful man.
Gone too soon at age 52, Mookie Singh will be missed most by those closest to him.
Him, his presence, everything about him, you know. I guess when you've been together so long, and especially here when there's no other family but just us, just the core. Maybe he came to this earth just for this, just to do this much and get over his trials on this earth and then go, leave and then maybe come back again for something new. And hopefully it'll be a better life for him where he is right now.
It's strange, I feel like it's selfish of us to want him around, It's easier. We're still stuck on this material earth, but it's fine. I mean, the impact he's made and stuff is huge, so I don't really have to do much, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And as for the future of the Twisted Tandoor, Roop Singh intends to carry on.
I feel I owe it to him and to the community in some form, We have such a supportive community in Tucson now. And I think I can't let that end since it's just beginning.
We first aired the story in September of 2015. Roop and Shireen Singh remained in Tucson, and Shireen continues her studies at the U of A, and Roop has just opened a brick-and-mortar version of the Twisted Tandoor. We wish them well. Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. We'll be taking a short break over the next few weeks, then back in September with all new stories. I'm Tom McNamara. We'll see you then.